Hey everyone, this is a clip from a recent episode of the Men of Steel podcast, where we talk about Superman and Superman-adjacent topics. If you enjoy this clip, check out the podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your shows. So this is a shift in storytelling that I think it makes sense that it is now collected in two separate trades, whereas the version that I have from back in the day is just one giant, like super thick Watchmen thickness level trade. Although actually now that I think about it, it's more issues than Watchmen by a considerable margin. Yes. So that all makes sense, because whereas the first chunk that we looked at last time was each of the respective Superman books that were running at the time doing their own thing with these like imposter Supermen, this is where the issues now start to flow together as one continuous story, just with 4 different creative teams working on it each week. And you can really tell that because the opening thing that happens when we pick up with Action Comics 689 is the Hobbs Neck Bridge, their Brooklyn Bridge equivalent for Metropolis, being blown up at the end of the Adventures of Superman issue that we concluded last time with. Does this make sense given some of the books that we have in here to start the trade? That is debatable.
No, I thought I was missing an issue. I literally thought I was missing an issue.
More, I'm thinking of the Bloodline annuals that pop up.
Those make even less sense in this context.
Yeah, so this issue is, however, a direct continuation of that Adventures of Superman issue, wherein Superboy, because we're just going to call him Superboy now. I'm sorry. There's no way. And Supergirl were fighting Stinger, the Spider-Man knockoff assassin that was sent to kill him as a publicity stunt. And when he escaped, he blew up the bridge. And so we opened with the 2 heroes actively trying to save people who had fallen off the bridge into the water. And so we're getting a bit more of Tana Moon responding to things. And frankly, this is, I think, probably the first time Tana Moon is being drawn by someone who isn't Tom Grummett. Because she's a character that first appeared in Adventures of Superman. So we're starting to see more bleed between the different books.
Yeah, that's what I loved particularly about this. This one is that you get to see a whole bunch of the characters that you grew to love in the previous like giant omnibus, and then like get to see them rendered by other people, like Boggs, my man Boggs, getting to like draw Eradicator and stuff like that. It's just really cool. And this was kind of the start of it. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Superboy showed up in Superman the Man of Steel last time. And that was the only real crossover that we got. And even that one was the one that made sense. It was the 2 that weren't really pretending to be the original Superman. So there was no like friction from that. And it was 2 different vibes. Like, one is like Superman in powers, but not in terms of personality or memories, and the other one was Superman in spirit. And that team up worked very well. And spoiler alert, they will continue to keep teaming up over the course of many, many decades of comics.
Spoilers.
But not everyone on this of these pretenders would join that particular team.
Is it really spoilers? It's been like 30 years at this point, I think.
I know.
Well, then again, people still haven't watched a lot of the movies, so...
Yeah, so we see Superboy and Supergirl jump into saving things. We have a spot where Supergirl uses her telekinesis to actually prevent a truck from going off the edge. And aside from Superboy's extremely misogynistic dialogue that they're writing for this, where he's like, nice work, Super Babe.
And hitting on her
you've
while
got
people
moves
are
I didn't
dead.
even suspect.
Yeah.
Right. He's like actively doing that while like there are people like buried in the water.
People literally dying, and he's like, Super Babe. Amazing.
Yeah, like there's a lot of spots where they're trying to be like, this is a 90s kind of thing, like, whoa, Demolition City, and then like, wow, still kicking after a little tumble like that. Something like this must sure make you a believer in airbags. Whoa, because you can't help but like kind of do specifically this Superboy dialogue that way. And I feel like it's especially when it's not Carl Kiesel writing it, where it's like goes really into like 90s isms, because that like he's Poochie to a certain degree. Like where it's like, how can we make Superman cool or Superboy cool? Remember, if you like the clip, after you're done liking and subscribing, check out certainpov.com, where you can find more episodes of the show as well as a ton of other great shows.